Hello and welcome to another Near Running Cast. As always, my name is Jono, and I'm joined once again by Joey. How's it going, Joey?
Not too bad, thank you. Excited about this game.
Yeah, so we are here to watch the final of the prestigious, the official title is the UK Rankings points something.
The Loricon.
Yeah.
Laurie Poulter.
This is the Invitational, which is the final, also known as Laurie Poulter, Chicken Con.
I love the mats. It's the Peter Glazebrook giant vegetable mat versus the world champion.
So
I love it.
Yes, we have them on the left hand side. Theo Clifford, who was the winner of the most recent UK Stim Hack League, hence the mat, the incredible mat that cannot be described. And on the right hand side, we have Chris Dyer, who is the reigning world champion and has the mat to prove it. Theo's playing CTM, and Chris is playing Andromeda, and also in the middle of the table is the spoon, which supposedly was handed down generation to generation by Laurie's uncle, who owned a valuable spoon.
Great uncle who was a famous chicken farmer.
He got it off eBay. He definitely got it off eBay.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a spoon with a chicken on the thing, and this is the winner.
That is the price. That's what they're playing for. There's also a potato just outshot.
There's a lot of references here that were explained in the latest episode of Dead Channel. So if you want to,
there's too much weird stuff going on here. I'm not going to try to explain it. So let's focus on the game. Okay, CTM has IceHQ and installed a thing, and we're going to get a check on R&D. It's Turnpike, and Chris seems happy to sure gamble. He's going to Desperado. He checked R&D, of course, and Quifero casts. So he's going to kind of money up, and he got a sneaky look on R&D as well. Why not? There's a pad on the left hand side. I wonder if Chris would be tempted to go after this pad. The pad campaign is one of those cards where in CTM,
it's painful.
Yeah, you see it and you're like, oh, it's just a pad, it's fine, it doesn't matter. And then later, the corp has 30 credits, and where did that money come from?
Yeah, and also you can't run. It's one of those decks you can't run without the money advantage, and so you can't trust that unless you've got a huge money advantage. But late game, you need to maintain your money advantage, so you do need to get rid of it. But it's very painful. He needs to build up a money.
Yeah, he does. Aha!
Power tap. Power tap.
So Chris has installed 2 power taps. This does a very interesting thing. It's better than a link, as he hits a virtual tool that he must trash. So there's now going to be a trace. So CTM is a trace 4. So Chris has 1 link, but he also gains 2 credits. So it's like a link, but it's better than a link. Because he doesn't have to fight the trace. So in this case, he doesn't. He just gains 2 credits, and then he clears the tag.
So whenever a trace fires, and it's not first time, whenever there's a trace, just gain a credit.
Yes.
I mean, they're not unique. He's got 2 of them.
And he's got 2 of them.
Which he drew very early.
So that means that he now is going to gain 2 credits every time a trace is initiated. There are quite a lot of traces in the modern CTM deck.
So what this does, mainly that Link doesn't, is it means if there's a trace piece of ice, you can just bounce off it for money, right? Which is a bit bonkers.
Yeah. Yes.
So resistors become like a liability.
They do. Resistors do become a liability. Yeah, that's true. So, and even things like Turnpike, you lose a credit, but then you gain 2 and take tag and access, and then you clear the tag. So it's kind of whatever if you don't mind about it. He's going to pull a Mumba from HQ. He's thinking about it. He's going to let him keep it. Okay.
Yeah. It's tough. From HQ, you really want to get rid of that. I mean, you won't take the tag as well, which is...
the other thing that's going to happen is Chris will also... So Chris can float very low on credits. And the reason is, if Theo plays hard-hitting news, he's going to gain 2 credits. That is also a trace. So that'll put him up to 6. And with the casts, he will be 8. So he can start his turn on 8 credits if there's a hard-hitting news.
Yep.
So he can float very low on credits and not worry too much about it. And this sec testing is going to do good work as well, because he can make money. In fact, there was breaking news behind a piece of ice, unchecked, and he's going to trash sec testing.
That's not interesting. It's not the worst case scenario for CTM scoring breaking news, is it? So
yeah, of course, yeah. So out of the options of sec testing, daily casts, and 2 power taps, he did trash sec testing. I think it was the right call for what it's worth. But it's interesting.
Power tap would have been.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, right? But if power tap's going to crush you,
sec testing is.
He's not going to ice every remote. So sec testing is 2 credits a turn, right?
Well, 3 with
3, of course. Yeah. And Dirty Laundries and Temujins, these are cards. So speaking of which, here comes Bird attacking man.
Just archives and then
itself on archives.
Yeah.
So he's going to run it at least once, but let's be honest, it's probably going to be all 3 times. Just make a buttload of money.
Yeah, 5 credits a click. You just do it, right?
Oh, Dirty Laundry as well. That is.
And suddenly the money advantage is well and truly swung. The only thing he might do now that he's got this money is go and trash the pad or draw.
He could fight the trace if he runs a clip forward to trash pad. In fact, he's just going to take loads of money.
Back in the day when dice were legal.
Yeah, that's true. Dice were not illegal at this tournament. IDs were, in fact.
IDs were banned. Yeah, but dice were allowed.
It's like a crazy topsy-turvy world.
Yeah, the world seems right again, Jono.
So it was a really interesting format, actually. There were 4 groups of 6 that played a 5 rounds round robin within each group, so everyone kind of knew exactly who they're going to play and even which order when they arrived. So it made it for interesting meta decisions.
Yeah.
And then the top 2 from each group went into a traditional double elimination top 8.
Well, it wasn't quite traditional because whoever came second in the group got a straight loss by the first position. So Theo actually came second in my group, and so he got a loss straight away. So the people who came second were already in the losers bracket.
Yeah, that's right.
And the 4 winners got an automatic win. So winning your group was much better than coming second in your group.
Yeah, that was quite interesting.
Theo managed to make the final. Like you can see, even though he is undefeated in the cut.
He fought through. As it's critical, he fought through the losers bracket. Yes. Yeah, it was a really interesting day, actually. And there was a real mix, because obviously all the players there were really good, but there was a real mix of players who were taking it very seriously and players who were taking it very not.
Yeah, that was a good mix.
Okay, so anyway, back to the game. We have this remote has a second piece of ice and a thing in it now. Last time a thing went in this remote, it was breaking news. Chris has an Earthrise online as well, so he's got some kind of ticking draw, which is good. He's got the Temujin as well. Archives has been iced. So we can get Siphon. Interesting. He's not very rich. But this
assumes that it won't end the run, right? Because so few.
Yeah, maybe he can trace the resistor if he wants to, or I mean, there's a side to this is he's trying to force a res. So is a toll booth interesting? So that's going to take Theo down to just 2 credits. It will lose Chris 3 credits in the run.
And now he'll run the bin.
But now he can check, and he can check the remote, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to check the remote, and unless there's could be a wrap, I suppose. Yeah. Vanilla. So Mumba Temple's going to res a wrap. Okay, sure. So for the cost of 1 credit, then he can res the wrap.
And then now he can get into the bin and just get really rich. And Theo's very poor.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So he will bounce, but he can now run the remote probably. Archives probably once or twice to make money. He might trust the Mumba, actually. He's going to run it. Is a resistor. That's not ideal, because he's going to gain 2.
Get in.
But he'd have to pay them to trace through.
There's his sec testing. Permanent sec testing.
Sure, yes. So in fact, he does pay the trace to gain 5.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So he gets 2, pays another 2.
Yeah, I think that works out.
And then he gains 5, so it's a net 3 gain. Sure. But he got a net 2 gain if he did nothing.
He might have attempted to run this temple and trash it, because Theo's not in a position to boost the CTM trace, and he can.
I think trashing the temple's pretty good.
So in fact, he's going to run on D. He nearly special ordered, but he's going to run on D instead. It seems good, right? Because Theo can't res almost certainly. He's going to see a Sansan, which he does not trash. Theo's not in a position to res it at this point. He's so poor. So if this was a breaking news in a remote, he also turned off the ability for Theo to score it.
Yeah.
So that kind of bought turn.
I think you hit the breaking news now, or you special order and just go for.
You could special order clip. Oh, in fact, he drew a paper clip with Earthrise. So he just dropped it and ran. So he's going to check the remote and sorry,
snake.
Not hiss, but that is the sound you make when a cobra appears. Everyone around the table also. That card. Okay, yes. So Snake is going to kill paperclip. It's also going to do 2 net. Chris says there is 1 correct answer in this hand. I wonder what it is. It's probably not those 2 cards. It could be a medium or something. Of course,
gonna continue,
he can continue and reinstall the paperclip. So he can get into this remote at cost. And he's going to steal breaking news. Okay. Good work. But he can't repeatedly run that remote. I mean, not before finding a mongoose or whatever he has for centuries.
Yeah, do you trust? I really want to trust that member at some point. I mean, it might not be this turn, but I think before he gets a chance to use it next turn, he should probably...
But he can, with paperclip, he can now run archives for just 1 credit spent, and he doesn't get the power tap credits, of course, if he breaks. But he can run for a credit and gain 5, which seems like a good exchange.
Yeah, no, that's much better. Again.
Yeah. So he's going to... has that cleared? That cleared the Temujin, okay. Interestingly, he can now, as you say, just run and bounce off the resistor for 2 credits.
Yeah. So that's like having a sec testing.
I mean, that seems
sort
good.
of.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get your Desperado money, but no, I think Chris is in a really good position now that he's got that paperclip. If you can just trash the Mumba and then.
Yeah, I think you trash the Mumba at this point.
He's got enough money to keep on top of, with the Desperado especially, to keep, and the power taps, to keep on top of all the remotes. So, like, Theo's not going to get a bankers that just spirals, is he, or anything like that.
So he's going to run and trash the Mumba. He's going to gain money for the CTM trace. He might take the tag and just clear the tag. He's going to do that. He's going to take the tag.
He'll probably run the other thing as well, because it could be a Sensi or a bankers or something.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have to take the
going to drop a medium.
tag.
Okay, medium could well have been the correct answer last turn when he hit the Cobra. Hit a Turnpike. Oh, this is getting quite annoying. So he's going to gain 2. He can fight the trace. Yeah, so he loses 1 for Turnpike. He gains 2 for Power Tap, and then he's going to face the trace, which is not boosted because Theo has no money. So he's going to pay 4 to beat the trace. Yep, you don't want to get covered in tags. Desperado and a medium access. Just bad. So he does still have a tag, so he's going to have to clear that tag.
Yes, but he didn't get a chance to run that remote. So that's a Sensi or bankers, yeah.
Is a Sensi.
Oh, bankers cost 1, right?
Bankers is 1 to res, that's true.
Yeah, so that's, but Sensi's was the worst case there.
So Sensi fires. Drew a GFR, which probably goes away. He's not in a position to think about that right now.
No.
So as
it's quite a strong hand from Theo. The problem is he really needs to get that
he's
bankers,
got no money,
that bankers
so,
firing, but Chris will
yeah.
just trash it. Like there's no reason for him not to trash it. He's got money advantage. He's got the power tap.
Yeah,
He's got Desperado. It's fine for him. Like Chris can definitely stay on top of the assets. He's got quite a good remote. Like the Cobra makes it essentially cost 4 to get through.
Yeah,
Keep getting through by reinstalling paperclip.
Yeah, I mean that's not ideal because he also does 2 net. So yeah,
if he installs and then takes a credit, I think Chris just has to trash everything this turn, right?
Yes. So he did install 2 cards.
He didn't take credit.
Think he drew.
Okay, so he's keeping the bankers then.
Yeah, so
power tap 3.
The 3rd power tap. So he's going to run and bounce off the resistor to gain 3. It's an easy mark now.
Yeah.
He's going to do it twice, in fact. So
that's hilarious. He's really going to have to install over that.
That resistor is a liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has an easy mark on the board that he can just run and click
and then
whenever he wants.
And then he running Sensi? Or?
I guess so. He doesn't. Okay, so I think he might have
no money.
I think he might have drawn maybe. So yeah, he tries to. Okay, right. This is what happened. Okay, last turn he installed 2 cards and he said take a credit, but then he didn't take the credit.
Oh, okay.
So then he attempted to res both things, realised he had no money. I reminded him, because I was sat watching at the time, I reminded him, you did actually say you can take credit and just didn't take it. So he takes the credit and he can res the bankers.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry, he did have a credit, but he hadn't taken it.
Yeah, no, I thought...
Yes.
Yeah, that would have... But as Chris, sense, it changes what you would do, I think, knowing that he's on... Because now he sweeps Hedgehog. Like, if he'd have cleared those remotes that turn...
Maybe you're right. He installs a piece of ice on archives. He doesn't trash resistor.
That one banker's fire has literally got him out of a massive hole.
I mean, perhaps you're right. He still could have credit sweeps hedge, for instance, but yes.
Sure.
Yeah, you could be right. Okay, so with 3 power taps, he's going to run into Turnpike. He's going to lose a credit and gain 3 and take a tag. I mean, that's not bad, right? But you don't even have to think about breaking it. He's going to access 2 cards. So GFI. Entirely useless resistor.
This is where the Sensis might actually do some work for him. If he can get good R&D digs, then it'll give him fresh accesses. But
yeah, and he's going to... I mean, he's going to take a tag every time he runs R&D, which isn't great. But I guess he just clears a tag every turn and does some other stuff, manages remotes, that kind of thing. So he's going to trash the... he's trashed the Sensi, and he's going to... No, he's not going to trash the okay, he's going to clear the tag. Of course, he should clear the tag.
Resistor. Yeah, he's like, oh no.
So he drew resistor, that's no good. I fully expect that Chris is going to come back for this pad next turn. He's going to manage
Santan in the remote.
remotes.
He's got Santan to put in the remote as well, which will be good.
So we've got to click the draw. I'm not sure what your out is here. I think, you need to put stuff in this remote. You need Santan seems good because he might get in. He probably won't get in with money. I mean, it's possible.
Things like pads just to spam out.
Okay, so he's going to run R&D.
Gain 2 tag.
He nets 2 and takes a tag and accesses 3 cards. I mean, that seems good, right? Like, and with Desperado, so he gains 3 credits when he runs R&D and a tag. So he's got to clear the tag, but He's thinking about Jackson. Maybe. I mean, another Jackson, in fact. So he left the first one, and then there was another Jackson. But and a pad. I get it. I remember how this works. This game works. And then he's going to draw some cards. So what is he looking for? Is he looking for? Yes. He was going to gamble, and then realised he had attack. So he cleared attack instead.
So essentially, Turnpike is a net loser click, right?
Yeah.
So he just needs to spend that click to clear the attack.
And he's binned a passport, which suggests he might have, say, Gordian in hand, or another passport. Some kind of code gate breaker anyway. I'm not sure what that. I guess it would be Gordian. I don't know. I mean, it could be a Peregrine, I guess, but I'm not particularly confident of that.
That Tollbooth Turnpike is like definitely the wrong way around, right? That's really annoying. I mean, he got siphoned earlier, but the Turnpike did it. The Tollbooth did the job of make Theo poor, which is what the siphon was for anyway.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not necessarily sure that Tollbooth is on the wrong server because against criminal, you're just going to get siphoned. Like, and as a criminal, it always annoys me as a Tollbooth in HQ because that's the server I want to run a lot.
Right. Okay.
All my cards say HQ. FFG do that. They do put HQ on all the blue cards. So HQ is an important server for a criminal.
So what else has Chris got except the fact he can't siphon?
Well, I mean that's it, right? And that's why you splash things like medium because it means that
you need
to find cards that don't care about HQ. So he'll have siphons, of course, but it means that he's forced the corp to invest a lot of money defending HQ to turn off some of his cards, but that means he can punish elsewhere, right? Yeah, and like you say, R&D is basically wide open at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Theo's now got money. He's got a Sansan and the remote.
Two cards in the remote. So do we think that's a breaking news on a Sansan? That'd be pretty awful. Although Chris can get in, so that'd be pretty bold if it was. It could be a Mumbad on a Sansan. So he's going to Shore Gamble install John Mass and run R&D. So he's going to make 3 credits and a bunch of accesses and a draw now.
Theo would love an all-seeing eye here, huh? That would.
So, in fact, this time he's going to beat the trace.
Sure, save himself the click.
I guess he's less worried about money, yeah, so he's kind of working out at what point it becomes profitable. So he lost credit game 3, then he paid 4 on trace, so he's down 2. That's breaking up 2 is fine. He's going to access 4 cards. I guess he left the Sensi. I think he doesn't care, he's just trying to lock him at this point. And in fact, Sensi will just help him see new cards, maybe.
Yeah, he'll just see all new cards now.
That's true. And he's going to draw some cards. Okay.
And purging.
So I think one of those was a John Mass card. He got a card from John Mass and Ori. Yeah. So I would say that I think that Chris is definitely the upper hand at this point. Those 3 power taps are basically turning off Turnpike, which is very relevant.
Yeah. And if he needs to trash anything, it turns off CTM ability.
Yeah, he can trash stuff and not care. He's not trashing Sensi. He's obviously.
Well, he's seeing 4 cards on medium now, so you don't need
to. You could. Do you purge if you're Theo here? I mean, maybe.
I mean, you can, but that Turnpike's not. You want to put another piece of ice down first. Like, you really want to put a toll booth there and then purge or something, or even like he's not gonna have another Cobra, is he? Like, Wrap's no good. I mean, what other ice is there? Because none of the barriers are any good with Paperclip out. It's literally toll booth. I mean, another Turnpike would be annoying, but Power Tap fires every trace, right? So
I don't know if there's Quandaries and things like that on this list, or an Archangel maybe. It's kind of
Archangel would be
there's no
very
sentries.
good because that's just trace 6. So even though he gets 2 credits for Power Tap, he was going to want to beat that trace. So it still attacks, and Turnpike still attacks in clicks because you have to clear the tag. And if you don't clear the tag, you have to pay 4 credits. So he needs Turnpike, Archangel, something like that on R&D or a toll booth.
So Cobra is in this deck specifically because there are no sentries that runners care about in this deck because they're all tracing things like Turnpike, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the reason you put Cobra back in this deck because it means that they have to think about getting a sentry breaker. And it's done that in this game, right? I mean, Chris hasn't got a sentry breaker, but he's not run that remote since. He could if he's desperate.
If he just has a lot of money, it's fine because he can just.
The problem he's got now as well is because the runner doesn't choose. So now if he runs that remote, he's going to lose medium. So he basically can't run that remote now until he gets the sentry breaker. I'm not sure what it is. I assume it's Mongoose, but maybe it's not. Could be Mimic,
I assume he has a Mongoose. I just think he doesn't have to do anything though because Theo is no threat of winning the game. And you just keep. I mean, he's going to get Chris will get EOI'd soon because that will happen.
Maybe. I mean, it feels like Chris is in a position where Theo's going to do CTM stuff, but he can basically ignore that and just keep running R&D. And if he suffers some
he will win
if
then
some
before
setback,
Theo gets
he
the
can
chance.
then keep going back to R&D. Like that's where he's going to win. He just has to do it.
Theo has to spend the money, fast advancing the breaking news, playing EOI. He'll do that stuff, and there's only one breaking news left in the game, mind as well.
Yes, that is true and very relevant as well.
But Chris will just keep saying, "I see 5 cards, I see 6 cards." Theo will have to lose every 3 or 4 turns to a purge, and it'll be I think Chris is fine here, even though Theo now has his money online.
He does have money.
He has the last breaking news,
so he's going to raise this Sansan. So he's probably going to score breaking news off of it. He does. Okay, so he's going to closed accounts. That's not very high impact. I mean, it's decent, right? It's good.
So the EOI is now offline.
Is that the best use of the 3rd breaking news, though?
It depends how quickly Chris can bounce back, right? But the resistance number been protected.
If it had been like an all-seeing eye or something, which is sneaking back into play, that would have been much more devastating than the closed accounts. Now, that's only true against some decks. In this case, I think it's true. Many decks do not care. Like, closed accounts is a good card. It's indexed for a reason. There's a lot of Siphon Anarch running around, and all-seeing eye is basically blank. Closed accounts is a good card, so I'm not questioning his inclusion of it. I wonder if that was high impact enough to justify using the 3rd breaking news. I don't know. All I know is the breaking news is one of the most powerful cards in your deck, and you really want to capitalise when you score it.
As I said, it means that Chris isn't going to lose that GFI now.
Yeah.
Unless he goes tag me, which I can't see him doing. There's no reason to go tag me now.
Honestly, no reason. Unless he gets surprised by something crazy, like a snare or something. That's not going to happen, is it?
No. So, unless he really needs to... Unless Theo's threatening game point with the Sansan resed, and he has to Hail Mary through sort of Turnpike in order to get enough accesses because he thinks Theo's going to win the game. Like, that's the only way.
Yes.
But then he'll be more worried that he'll just give Theo the game by EOI. So
I mean, it might. The other way this could go for Theo is if he is. So this Sansan is still up. If he can score an Astro off of it, does he get a Beal? This is going to be a deep dig actually. So this could, and that's the Beal. Okay, so that's the lot.
That's
the only other way out of that for Theo, I think, is he had the Sansan. He had a red Sansan, and yellow is good. So if he'd scored an Astro or something like that, then he could have done something crazy.
If he'd shored up R&D, then he would have just drawn that Beal, scored it for 2 credits. Then he would have drawn the next Beal next turn, scored it for 2 credits, won the game.
Yeah,
but he needed to not be losing when medium's ticking up like that, and you can't stop it. I mean, he probably doesn't have a CVS in the deck. He might have one maybe that he needs something to purge, and then to show up R&D, and then just to wait for the Beals. But
I mean, CVS is a good card. I don't think there's no clot threat from Criminal, so it's not.
No, it's for medium. It's for medium there.
Yeah. So I don't think CTM has a CVS. Like, maybe you put one in, but I don't think it's. I mean, slots, right? Like, I don't think it's one of the best 49 cards you're going to get in that deck. So maybe I think that's a good tech card though. If you're seeing, like, I don't know, if you're going to a tournament and you're going to see everyone's going to have medium and all the shapers are going to have clot. Then you slot one.
I'm thinking about CVS back again, just because just every now and then they're doing their medium digging, and it's like, oh, you lose your medium counters. That's great.
Yeah. Like I'm like, so I've obviously been playing NEH for a while, like Russian, but I'm still on 3. Like
3 CVS.
Yeah.
Wow.
You need. I should probably go down to 2. I'm only on 2 Jackson.
Sure, you should probably swap a CVS for Jackson, John. I know
that. Because if I lose, it's often because of CVS. Basically, like, that's it.
But no one plays
maybe
Maybe
it's 2. No, but when they do play Clot, it wrecks me.
Sure, but they won't, so you're fine.
I also change my deck very slowly, Joey. So
okay.
Yeah, that's true. It's a fossil of a previous meta. It might be 2. Actually, it might be 2 CVS. I don't think I'm that crazy.
It's useful for medium though. It really is.
Yeah, and that's it. And like, I use it. I haven't used it for Clot for a long time. It's there for Clot, but I use it for medium.
Yeah,
like, of course.
So useful. And when they just hit it on it, because they'll hit it in R&D, and it's just great. It's
I mean, that alone is fine. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, enough about that, but more about this game. Chris played an Andromeda deck, which is very strongly teched against CTM, and he beat CTM all day, and then he faced CTM in the final and won. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Like,
and this was before a lot of the CTM hate for Criminals. This was before On the Lam, and before like all that.
It was before On the Lam.
So this is showing that there's like Criminals can deal with CTM quite well.
It's interesting. Power Tap is a very old card, and it's a very bad card.
And it's
bad
except
for the correct meta, which we are definitely in.
It has no and it relies on the corp tracing you, right? Like it's a dead draw into matchups, but I think it's worth 3 of in the current meta.
I mean, there are runner cards that can force traces. Like Nexus is the most obvious, but and it goes in those decks, I guess. But it's only good in a very specific meta. But we're in that in a meta where you're going to get traced, once or twice every turn. Like that seems like a good include, and that's where we are. So it's a really good tech card.
Yeah, even against like HB. There's Ashes and there's Itchies where you let the trace fire. Like they're not dead draws. You're probably not going to pay the 2 credits to install it just to get the Itchy trace money. But traces will happen in all games. But when you're playing CTM, it's just very good. It's very, very good.
So after a long day of slogging it against some of the very best, Chris then won the Laurie Poulter UK Rankings Invitational and took home the prestigious spoon of chicken.
I think he should get his name carved in it, and then it should come back next year, and we should hand it.
I mean, it's not a very big spoon, so that won't last very long.
No, but, if it's once a year, you could probably fit 5 names on it. That's 5 years of Netrunner.
Sure, and the game will be dead by then, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And it was really interesting. So we should thank Laurie, right?
Yes.
So over the course of the whole of 2016, having this kind of rankings meta tournament running alongside all the official tournaments was really interesting, and it's not something that I particularly got involved in because I don't play at the very top, but the very competitive players had a lot of fun, like going to tournaments and trying as well, like going to tournaments trying to play well in those tournaments, but having it count towards some larger big picture that they were kind of like jostling for the rankings. It was really interesting, and I think a lot of players got a lot out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yourself included, probably.
Yeah. No, it motivated me to. It shaped my whole aims for the year because he allowed you your best 3-store champs, your best 2 regionals and nationals.
Of course, yeah.
My aim was to get Laurie points at 3-store champs, 2 regionals and a nationals. Like it shaped my whole plan for the year, and I would go to extra store champs thinking, I have still only got 2 sets of Laurie points. I want to get a 3rd or something.
Yeah.
I definitely traveled to more regionals and like obviously nationals you're gonna try and win anyway. But yeah, it was good. I mean, and it made store champs after you'd sort of won one or done well in one. Still wanting to do well in them is good because it's a bit weird going to tournament and not necessarily needing to or wanting to do well, and it really helped that made more people go to more champions because they were so well attended last year, the store champs, and I think this helped a lot. So.
Yes, I think so. I think it did. The whole rank thing was really good, and the day itself was good as well. I actually ran it like Theo the tournament because Laurie qualified, so he was playing. So he organised like the whole thing, but I basically just judged on the day. To be honest, I didn't do that much. I just shouted. Room full of people.
Because of the round robin format, it was like everyone like challenge. Just everyone knew
who they're playing,
and it was fine. Yeah. And because of the caliber of player, everyone knew all the rulings, so that there was that many judging. It was more if
like
mistakes,
everyone knew the rules,
and it was casual level of. So if people did play errors, you're not out to give game losses and stuff.
That's true. There was no money on the line, as far as I know. There was no prize.
Literally the spoon was that
was it. Okay. Just prestige, so anyway, it was a really good event. So that, I guess that brings an end to the 2016 season footage for us. There's no more videos we're going to do from that season. But next up, we're going to jump straight into the 2017 season. We get no rest. It'll be the Reading Store Champs.
Cool.
Which we attended
yesterday.
Very recently, yesterday. As of this recording yesterday. And was a very well-attended affair.
Yes.
56
player still champs, which for this year so far is
bonkers.
Very big.
Yeah, it's better than anything else I was, so I'm really happy with that.
Not just well-attended, but like the level, like the average level of player was also insane.
We had players come from, quite far afield. So I've had some overseas visitors, which is
we had like 5 from overseas. We probably had 4 people from this year's, or at least 4 top 16 worlds players. Like we had, we had a lot of kind of top 16 worlds players, UK ones come. Yeah, it was a strong field. It was a very strong field.
So we'll do. I'm not sure what I need to process the footage of that, but we'll do videos from that next year. Maybe 1 or 2 Swiss, or at the very least the cut on the main channel. Yes, or they will all be on the Heap channel, of course. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to perusing those videos, reliving some of the moments.
Yeah,
should be some good stuff. So I'll just like to remind all our viewers then they can find all of the videos on the website neoreadinggrid.co.uk, and they can find us on Twitter and on Facebook and on Patreon if they'd like to support the channel. Thank you, Joe, for helping me commentate.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.